it'll be mainly words of gratitude.
What about advice?
Well, no, I'll give advice if I'm asked, but not proffer it.
Do you have any regrets about opening the genie's bottle on this whole, creating a new party?
No, I think, as I've said many times before, I think the creation of strategic alliances and principled coalitions is the way politics is going to be done in the next decade. You see it all over the world, and you certainly see it in business, just taking a little longer to operationalize it here. So.
But do you think it'll ever happen that the parties will get together, the Tories, the alliance with
Well, we'll have to wait and see. We'll have to wait and see. We'll have to wait and see.
But do you think it can ever happen? I mean, there's an election coming.
I think everything's possible. Everything's possible.
And the fact that your colleagues, the people that came in with you, Deb Gray and Chuck Strahl and so on, are not even, they're not.
Well, I'd not like to get into that, but I think the concept of, just like reform was the right word for describing the dynamics of the 1990s, I think strategic alliances and coalition building is the right concept for this decade. You see, that word occurred about 6 times in the State of the Union message last night. So that's right. That's right. Well, thank you, and thank you all. Okay, good.
Are you going to continue to think big, sir?
Oh, I'll keep thinking big. Yeah.
But is this the end of your political career, or do you think you'll ever come back?
To the voters of Calgary Southwest, who never insisted that I attend any social or community or even political event in the riding, as long as I kept working for their interest on the national stage, I offer my deepest thanks. It has been a privilege to be your representative in the Parliament of Canada. As Deborah said, I love that word reform, and just as I was convinced that reform was the right word to describe much of the dynamics, what had to be done in the 1990s, I am equally convinced that the building of strategic alliances and principled coalitions will be the key to getting big things done in the next decade of this century. How to operationalize that concept in practice is not yet clear, but I wish the builders of strategic alliances and principled coalitions every success in the days ahead. I leave you with my favorite prayer by a 19th century statesman and Democrat who wrestled long and hard with these types of issues, and which he gave on the occasion of his departure from his political friends. Trusting in him who can go with me and remain with you and be everywhere for good, let us confidently hope that all will be well. To his care commending you, as I hope you in your prayers will commend me, I wish you an affectionate farewell.
Once in a while in the life of a nation, Mr. Speaker, there arises an individual of such stature and character that a country is changed forever. I think all of us sense that today. Historians will document 1987 to 2000 as a period of reform in Canadian federal politics. And as my colleague just said, Mr. Speaker, I love that word, reform. A person of vision, principle, sound judgment, uncanny ability has been amongst us, leading this movement, defying great odds. He succeeded in organizing an army of volunteers and voters that grew from nothing to the official opposition status in less than 10 years. It's unprecedented in Canadian history. I was one of those volunteers, Mr. Speaker, as you know, and one of those who became part of the official opposition alongside him. When I think back to his campaigning on horseback, to motorcycles, to the Reform Air Force, to the passing of our family football. It made such a tremendous impact on him and all of us. We always have had fun campaigning.
This honourable member has carried forward a reputation for integrity, for decency, and for constantly challenging the status quo. His commitment and his contribution to Canada, to parliamentary democracy, and to the national agenda are substantial. His recent role on the Standing Committee on Industry, Science and Technology has been outstanding and a model of bipartisan public service.